The question becomes, is lead plaintiff schoolteacher Willis Brown ready to settle his case? We called him. So you're not settling as far as you know?
Right. Nothing. We have not been offered anything per se to settle on, and so our position is, let's keep going, pushing the issue until someone says, okay, here's what we're going to do to appease what your efforts to bring justice. So until that happens, we're still going full steam.
His lawyers are looking for bigger targets stemming from their case, that of ongoing criminal activities involving nationwide vote fraud.
What we are proposing right now is to basically reassemble our forces to become a strike force in which we go after the organized criminal activity, which we identify very clearly originating out of Karl Rove and all of his instruments and manifestations, corrupt businesses, etc. We want to expose it.
And it's not just the landmark lawsuit that's highlighted. All of the voters we spoke with are concerned with the way the election officials operate in Ohio, under lobbyists. Schaefer's looking into that too.
It goes back to a group here in Ohio called the Ohio Association of Election Officials. So their acronym is OAEO. One of the things to know there is they've formed a private corporation. It is greatly influenced by a lobbyist by the name of Aaron Ackerman.
Aaron Ackerman is not just the lobbyist for the OAEO, the Ohio Association of Election Officials. He and his company, State Street Consultants, have been the lobbyists for two electronic voting machine companies, ES&S and Diebold, now called Premier, that count 80% of the votes in the U.S.
Why is it a lobbyist and a private corporation is making the decisions for Ohio's voters?
We wanted to interview Ackerman, but he referred us to his boss at the OAEO, election official Shannon Leninger.
If we can make recommendations or if there's any sort of hearings, he will speak on our behalf, or we will maybe suggest an individual in the association that is an expert in this area, and they'll go down and speak to the legislators.
Leninger is director of the Ashland County Board of Elections, and she's the appointed president of the private Ohio Association of Election Officials. Are the records made public?
Are the records not? No, they're not made public.
What percentage of the OAEO money is public versus private?
I don't know.
But you're the president.
I don't know.
Who knows what happened to extra unvoted blank ballots from 48 Ohio counties that are needed to prove whether the election was stolen in 2004? Schaefer was looking for them. Did Leninger's Ashland County turn in their extra blank unvoted ballots?
Yes, we had extra paper ballots.
Yeah. Were those turned in afterwards as required by law?
Yes. We are required to keep voted and unvoted ballots for a federal election for 22 months. And those ballots have been taken to Columbus.
Citizen Schaefer says no, they weren't taken to Columbus and are missing, according to the Secretary of State's own inventory.
Shannon Leninger is also missing all of her unvoted ballots. She's the current president of the Ohio Association of Election Officials.
No matter. The association works with Secretary of State Jennifer Bruner, who says many missing ballots should be forgiven.
From our point of view, it seems that there was misunderstanding, misinformation, and just plain ignorance on some people's parts.
Even still, are officials like Bruner caught in a net created by lobbyists and by that private association, the OAEO?
Well, my job as Secretary of State is to provide instructions that carry the force of law to boards of elections officials. So in the sense, I advise each of the members, but the association itself as an organization stands independently.
And do they set policy at all?
They try to.
They do. And what happens?
The difficulty is that we need a good working relationship, and where policy is set most often is in the legislature.
And why did Bruner keep the old staff and surround herself with officials who could have contributed to the election debacle of 2004? Why is Matt Damschroeder still in office?
Matt Damschroeder is the Deputy Director of the Franklin County Board of Elections, and the Director and the Deputy Director are selected by the 4 Board of Elections members. So apparently the board members feel confident of the work that he does.
Bruner may not think she has jurisdiction over Damschroeder, but she does rely on Ackerman, the voting machine lobbyist whom she allowed to pick all 12 officials to review those machines.
How could Jennifer Bruner even ask him?
Why?
It's a definite conflict of interest. A lobbyist for the voting machine companies chose Ohio's election officials to be involved in studying how Ohio's voting machines work. For $1.9 million was the cost of the study. something is really, really wrong in Ohio.
The farmer says Secretary of State Bruner could use a good old reality check.
I just want to say, hey, there's one constituent, the voter. The politicians, throw them out of your office. The people with the machines, toss them out. They are not your constituents. You are not there to make sure that corporations make money counting the vote.
Lobbyist Ackerman may not want to interview on camera, but the citizens are speaking up. Do you make a connection between the loss of the vote and what's happened to the lives of people right now?
I think it is clear that with the manipulation of that vote, discouraging people from voting and having the long lines, show that if we had a different person at the helm, we probably would have a different economy today. Either you get involved in a local civic association or you form one and you get people organized and you get them become conscious, because for a long time people have been sleeping. Now it's time to wake them up.
Patty Schaefer's mom has a different perspective.
She expects people to do the right thing. I don't. Who was the guy who walked across the United States? They made a movie of him.
Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump. Well, remember when he stepped in the dog excrement? What did he say? Don't you remember?
I don't remember.
Shit happens. And I know that shit happens.
As for the presidential elections in Ohio 2008, just like your TV shows, The Outer Limits or The Twilight Zone, there's nothing wrong with your TV set. There are new measures, early voting, new machines, security. But how accurately can the votes be counted when a system is in control and not the people? A monopoly of virtually the same politicians, the same private election group, the lobbyists, and corporations are managing the elections. Citizens' rights may seem to be weak, but the voters on Main Street say they're coping and they're taking action.
I kind of try to pride myself in thinking that I don't care what happens, I'm going to make it.
I ride the bike because it could save money. One person can save $10 a day, and then a million people can save a lot of money.
Feed your neighbor, clothe your neighbor, shelter your neighbor, take care of your fellow American. We are the world living in peace. It is proof positive that we can do it, and we have the Constitution to show us how it's done. And that is what the people in power are really afraid of.